So today we'll be discussing about retinitis pigmentosa, very important topic from the exam point of view. So first thing we should know about the triad in retinitis pigmentosa. So what is a triad? So the patient typically will have arteriolar attenuation. The patient will have bony corpuscles. The patient will have bony corpuscles, arteriolar attenuation, and waxy pallor of the disc. Waxy pallor of the disc. So if they ask you which is the characteristic feature of retinitis pigmentosa, the characteristic feature is the arteriolar attenuation. So presence of arteriolar attenuation is the characteristic feature of retinitis pigmentosa. So you should remember what is the inheritance of this disease. So this disease is inherited as X-linked recessive, autosomal dominant, and autosomal recessive. So among these three, you should remember that autosomal dominant has the best prognosis and X-linked recessive has the worst prognosis. With this introduction, we'll discuss about the various syndromes which are associated with retinitis pigmentosa. So I'll be giving you examples and the presentation. So we will diagnose the syndrome at the end of the discussion. Okay. So the patient presents with night blindness due to retinitis pigmentosa. The patient has deafness. The patient has dry, scaly skin. The patient has shortened toes and fingers. So which this disease is this? This disease is your Refsum's disease. So Refsum's disease we know is the deficiency of phytanic acid oxidase. Okay, it is a deficiency of phytanic acid oxidase. Okay, the patient will have scaly skin, acanthosis, short finger and toes, night blindness along with retinitis pigmentosa. So the next is the patient having hearing loss along with retinitis pigmentosa. So this is the typical sensorineuronal hearing loss seen in patients with Usher syndrome. So Usher syndrome is associated with RP along with sensorineuronal hearing loss. Okay. So the next is the typical bird-like facies. Typical bird-like facies, mid-craniofacial defects, mental retardation, progeria, along with retinitis pigmentosa. So the diagnosis here is your Cockayne syndrome. Cockayne syndrome is associated with progeria, bird-like facies, mid-craniofacial defects, presence of mental retardation along with RP. Okay, so there's early aging in these patients. Next is your Kearns-Sayre syndrome. What is Kearns-Sayre syndrome? The classical triad in Kearns-Sayre is your pigmentary retinopathy, presence of cardiac conduction defects, and sensorineuronal hearing loss along with cerebellar ataxia. So these are the important features of Kearns-Sayre syndrome. Remember, Kearns-Sayre syndrome has a mitochondrial inheritance. So the inheritance in Kearns-Sayre syndrome, there's a mitochondrial inheritance. So it is transmitted from the mother to the offspring. Okay. So the other features include abnormal ECG changes, cerebellar ataxia, short stature, and elevated level of CSF protein. So these are the important features of Kearns-Sayre syndrome. Next is your NARP. NARP stands for neuropathy, ataxia along with retinitis pigmentosa. The other name is also known as maternally inherited Lake syndrome. Okay, so it is maternally inherited. It is a multisystem disorder typically seen in the young adults. Okay, and there is a varied presentation in these patients. Okay, typically they'll have neuropathy, they'll have ataxia along with retinitis pigmentosa. So next we go to the important dystrophies. So which is this dystrophy? The typical vitelliform dystrophy known as the Best disease. So Best disease, we have to remember what is the mode of inheritance. It is autosomal dominant. Okay, it is also known as there is typically what is the yellow color pigment deposition which occurs? There is typically lipofuscin deposition. Typical lipofuscin deposition here. Typically the patient will have if you do the EOG, so electrooculogram is diagnostic of Best disease. So electrooculogram, if we take the Arden's ratio, what is Arden's ratio? Arden's ratio is the ratio of the light peak by dark trough. Okay, it is the ratio of the light peak by dark trough. So the normal Arden's ratio is more than 1.8. Okay, if it is less than 1.5, it is diagnostic of your Best disease. Okay, so if it is less than 1.5, it is diagnostic of Best disease. typically it is a vitelliform dystrophy which shows the characteristic egg yolk-like appearance. This appearance is also known as egg yolk-like appearance. Okay, so remember, Arden's ratio is typically lesser than 1.5 in Best disease. Next, we have the Stargardt's disease. What is Stargardt's disease? Stargardt's disease, remember, in juvenile form, it has both juvenile form and adult form. See, in juvenile form, it is autosomal recessive. Okay. In the juvenile form, it usually appears either in the first or second decade of life. There's a typical mottled appearance. This mottled appearance is typically known as the beaten bronze appearance. This is known as the beaten bronze appearance. Beaten bronze appearance, and in the adult form, the patient typically, it is known as the fundus flavimaculatus. Fundus flavimaculatus. So you remember which kind of ERG is affected. So whenever we have to study the macula, remember the pattern ERG is best. Okay, so the pattern ERG typically is affected in patients with Stargardt's disease. Okay, so any macular pathology you want to study, always go in for a pattern ERG, which will be abnormal in Stargardt's disease. Okay, and also remember, important is the FFA finding. The FFA finding typically shows the presence of a silent choroid. What is silent choroid? So silent choroid is because of the hypofluorescent choroid against the backdrop of a hyperfluorescent retinal maculopathy. Okay, hyperfluorescent maculopathy. So it is a hypofluorescent choroid against the backdrop of a hyperfluorescent maculopathy. Again, the hyperfluorescent maculopathy occurs because of the deposition of lipofuscin. There is deposition of lipofuscin in the macula in Stargardt's disease. Stargardt's disease, remember, pattern ERG is diagnostic of Stargardt's disease. Okay, so this is another important disease. Remember, this reflex is known as the oculodigital sign. This is also known as the oculodigital sign. This is a feature of your Leber's congenital amaurosis. Remember, Leber's congenital amaurosis is an important cause for salt and pepper retinopathy. Leber's congenital amaurosis. So the patient will have salt and pepper retinopathy, typically because of the constant rubbing of the eyeball. Because this child is not able to see because of the retinopathy, the child continues to rub the eyeball. Because of the constant rubbing, the ocular pad of fat is lost. The ocular pad of fat is lost, due to which the patient will have an enophthalmos. This is known as the oculodigital sign of Leber's congenital amaurosis. So the important causes for the salt and pepper retinopathy is retinitis pigmentosa, chorioretinitis, degenerative disorders of the retina, torch infections, mainly rubella, and central serous chorioretinopathy. Remember, rubella in the lens, it results in a nuclear cataract. So this also is an important exam question. Okay, so remember, rubella can result in a nuclear sclerosis or nuclear cataract. Central serous chorioretinopathy, homocystinuria, congenital herpes, congenital enterovirus infections are important causes for salt and pepper retinopathy. Next, we have to know about Mizu's phenomenon. Mizu's phenomenon is characteristic of a disease called as Oguchi's disease. Oguchi's disease stands for congenital stationary night blindness. Okay, it is an important cause for congenital stationary night blindness. So what is this Mizu's phenomenon? So there is a typical golden sheen in the light adapted fundus. Okay, there's a typical golden sheen seen in case of the light adapted fundus, which is a characteristic of your Oguchi's disease. So this is your Mizu's phenomena. Remember, inverse Mizu's phenomena, they can ask, inverse Mizu's phenomena is the golden sheath seen in the dark adapted fundus. So where is inverse Mizu's phenomena seen? It is seen in X-linked RP. Okay, it's seen in X-linked RP. So inverse Mizu's phenomena is the golden sheen seen in the dark adapted fundus, which is characteristic of X-linked RP. Okay, so we'll quickly go to the questions. The causes of exudative RDR. This is a PGA question, so it is a multiple choice. So we know it is because of Harada syndrome, hypertensive retinopathy, and Coats disease. Okay, Coats disease, hypertensive retinopathy, and Harada's syndrome. So remember, the important systemic causes include toxemia pregnancy, polyarthritis nodosa, Harada syndrome, CSR, and exophytic type of retinitis pigmentosa. Okay, silent choroid is a fundus feature, FFF feature of Stargardt disease. I told you it is because of the hypofluorescent choroid against the backdrop of a hyperfluorescent maculopathy because of the deposition of lipofuscin in the RPE. This is the silent choroid. Okay, this is the FFF feature of a silent choroid which is seen in Stargardt disease. Next, we have a 7-year-old male who presents with 6/6 vision in the right eye and hand movements in the left eye. Fundoscopy, the right eye fundus is normal. The left eye shows the presence of a retinal detachment. So the patient has yellow exudates telangiectatic vessels. So what is the most probable diagnosis? So the answer here is Coats disease. Remember, Coats disease is typically unilateral, seen commonly in boys. Age group is about 7 to 8 years. There is a breakdown of the blood retinal barrier. So because of which there is leakage of cholesterol, lipoproteins, lipid-laden macrophages into the retina and the subretinal space. So over time, this proteinaceous exudates thicken and lead to an exudative RD. So they can ask you what type of a retinal detachment is seen. It is a exudative retinal detachment, which is a feature of Coats disease. So the last question, there's a retained intraocular foreign body in the eye, which is the most important test for monitoring the vision. Okay, so the answer here is ERG. Why ERG? Remember, the most common intraocular foreign body is iron. So siderosis bulbi, initially there is a decrease in the amplitude of the A wave with a normal B wave. Towards the end of the changes, there is a decreased amplitude of B wave also. And in the end stage of this one, the ERG B wave is completely extinguished. This is the feature of siderosis bulbi. Okay, the iron deposition also occurs in the iris, where the patient can have iris heterochromia. In the lens, the patient can have brown dots. In the retina, pigmentary retinopathy can be there, and the ERG, typically the B wave becomes flat in 100 days. Okay, so with this we will finish today's class.
Best training, peaceful environment, PG medical entrance exam preparation were my expectations. I got them at Speed Medical Village in Kanchipuram. Today, I am a PG topper.
Speed Medical Village, a unique eco-friendly campus dedicated for PG preparation. Speed Medical Institute, a complete solution for medical education.